Hey, ladies and gents, and welcome to the Controlled Interest Gamecast, episode 58. As always, I'm joined by Dom.
Yahoo!
And no Jordan this week, but we do have a special guest, Ian. Welcome back, Ian.
Hi. Thanks.
It's been a while since you've been on. Thank you for joining us this week. Got a lot of Souls-related news, so it's fitting that you're
awesome.
Here. Yeah. As always, we start the podcast by talking about what we've recently been playing. It's been a really weird week for me again. I haven't really played anything new. I've been just playing like a bunch of older stuff. I don't know if the Easy Allies guys do this, Ian, where like if a new game's about to come out and they have to review and they have to get to playing it, you're kind of in this weird middle section of like you don't want to start anything new, because you don't want to be committed to that if you're gonna have to review a game. It's like Prey's coming out, and obviously Bethesda doesn't send out early codes for the most part. So like I'm just waiting on Prey, so I didn't want to start anything new or anything like that. So I've actually just been doing some Dark Souls 3 achievement cleanup. Some of those achievements are really tough, like getting all the rings and all that stuff. It's multiple playthroughs and different locations, stuff like that. I mentioned last week I've been playing Fallout Shelter again. I played it when it initially came out, like a while back, and I booted it up on my Xbox One just to check it out, and it's amazing how much that game has evolved. I don't know how recently or if you played Fallout Shelter at all, but man, that game has changed a lot. So at first it was a very mobile gamey, like, touch to move management game. Now they added the ability to have characters go out on quests, and you actually get there's some RPG elements in it where you get to equip them with certain stuff and you get to choose how they go about exploring these buildings, and it's very much in the vein of Fallout, so it keeps true to that, and I'm just having a blast with that, playing it here and there. And then I've also been playing Smite quite a bit, which is a third-person MOBA. It's I would say it's the third biggest MOBA out there. It's Dota and then League, and I would say Smite's up there. Like, they make quite a bit of money on esports and stuff like that. It's fun. I love mythology. That's what that game's completely centered around, is the different pantheons, Celtic and Roman and Greek and all that stuff. So I've just been playing that, having a good time. Looking forward to playing Prey and reviewing that and checking it out. But it's pretty much it for me. Pretty slow, pretty weird week. So what have you guys been playing?
I can go. I was playing. I've beaten Breath of the Wild, but I'm trying to get the rest of the shrines. I think I've got 23 left.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and I'm trying not to use any guides or anything. I've looked at a couple after I've already found a thing and I've exhausted all my options that I could think of, and I'm like, what am I missing? And then I look it up and it's like, you have to do this completely unrelated quest and then the thing will move on. And I'm like, what? I would have not realized to do that, but okay.
There was one, you have to, it's in the desert, and the Gerudo woman is, laying on the little panel to get in, and she wants some kind of drink, and it tells you the name of the drink, but I have no idea what ingredients I need to make it. So I don't even know.
You have to go to the little tavern after talking to her.
Someone tells me. Okay.
Heroic Pursuit, I think it's called. Noble Pursuit.
Yeah.
You go there and talk to her, and then it's a whole thing with ice and stuff. And then, so I've been playing that. I've been playing a little Puyo Puyo Tetris. I've been playing a little Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But mostly I've been playing Nier Automata. And that's how I'm going to pronounce it, because that's how that word is pronounced. And I love that game, kinda. It's pretty crazy. I don't know how much I should say, but I'm on the third ending, I guess, third playthrough. That game is structured pretty strangely, so
isn't there lots of different endings or something?
Yeah, except I don't really want to spoil it exactly, but yeah, there are 5, I think, mainline ones, and I think a bunch of joke ones, maybe. I got one joke ending that was pretty funny and pretty weird. Kind of accidentally, just because I didn't know what I was doing. But yeah, I've been playing that. I put Persona 5 aside so I could try to. I was like, a bunch of people are telling me to play Nier. I'll just real quick play Nier, thinking. For some reason, I thought it was. Yeah. For some reason, I thought, 8-10 hour game, whatever. I'm like 25 hours in right now, and apparently I'm like halfway. Maybe a little over halfway. But yeah, I'm 15 hours into Persona 5, and maybe I'll finish that game someday, but I'm not really holding my breath. I like it, but oh man, it's just so long.
Ugh. Every time I hear about that game, it's like, oh, I'm 60 hours in, I'm 40 hours in, I'm 70 hours in. I'm like, ugh.
I'm 15 hours in, 15 hours in, and I feel like the game just started, basically. Like, I just now am starting to care about the characters, and, like, the hooks are in me now, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas, like, for the first 10, I was like, I don't care about anyone, really. But now I'm like, oh, yeah. And I think apparently a lot of the, like, best characters you don't even meet until way later.
That's crazy, though. Like, that's definitely a sign of us being older, because when I was younger, if you told me I could get a game that I could play for upwards of 100 to 200 hours, I'd be like, that's awesome. You know, because, like, when you're younger, you don't have a lot of expendable income, you can't buy a lot of games, so it's like, you want a game to last as long as possible, but now we're older, we have expendable income, we're like, I don't have time to finish that, I need to get on to other things. It's really funny.
You know, you have nothing but time, and you haven't begun to feel the passage of time yet.
Yep.
Like, I mean, all my favorite games from my youth, like Suikoden and, you know, like all these massive RPGs. Like, I beat Final Fantasy X like 3 times, and
wow.
10 too, you know, like Final Fantasy VIII, like I was playing everything, you know, and, you know, it's just like, you just do not have that time anymore. And, you know, I'm playing Persona 5 on easy just because I'm like, if I finish this at all, I'll be astonished with myself.
Yeah.
But I do not have the time to do anything in this game more than one time. You know? And, like, these games are notorious for sudden and unexpected difficulty spikes. You know? Like, in Persona 4, I was playing on normal, and if I was 14, I would have been like, great, let's grind it out. Let's do this, you know? But I got to a dungeon where I was just like, suddenly normal enemies could one-shot my entire party, and I was like, when did this start happening? Like, I didn't have any money. I was like, what happened? How am I so bad at this all of a sudden? Like, yeah, so just ain't no time.
Did you play the first Nier?
No.
No. Do you need to for Automata? Automata? Tomato?
Yeah. Ben says that you don't need it, like, and I can attest, like, there's not been a single moment where something has happened in this and I'm like, what does that mean? What's going on?
Yeah.
It's so far been, you know, nothing. I know for a fact that there have been references, but they're made in a way that if you're gonna get them, you'll get them. Otherwise, they don't have any other significance to you, but they still make sense within the world of your narrative here. You know, like, I know I met a character that apparently is in the other one. I just didn't know that. But it doesn't matter to me, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I'm certain that I'm missing out on some kind of, like, context stuff, or, like, maybe some things have deeper meaning that I'm just glossing over, but I don't have the feeling like I'm missing out at all.
When people do it like that, I think it's the best, because if you have played the first one, it gives you a lot of good feeling, right? But, like, somebody like you who just jumped in, it's like, well, it's not taking me out of the game, but I know that there's some stuff that I could probably understand more. Like, I think that's a hard line to walk, but it's really impressive when people do that.
Well, and given my knowledge of myself and what I know of Nier 1, if I'd played 1, I likely would never have played this one, because I've heard that the gameplay is much less polished in the first one, and that's generally something that I don't abide for very long and then stop playing.
Gameplay is king.
Yep.
So, Dom, you've been playing Horizon and Zelda. Has that changed at all?
So this week I actually didn't even get back to Zelda. I did get a little. Yeah, no, like I said, I'm trying to space it out. Still have one more Divine Beast to go through. Still about 60 shrines left, and I haven't actually even beat the game yet either. So at one point, you know, I'll beat it, but I just kind of want to let it ride. There's not much else on Switch that will really replace that for me right now, so I'm just gonna let that hang out until Odyssey comes out. So I did, however, get a little bit more time into Assault and Sanctuary on Vita, which is, like I said last week, since they put out that patch, working a whole lot better now. No more crashes.
That's
so
good.
Still enjoying that. Horizon, though,
I like that game.
Yeah, no, Assault and Sanctuary is fantastic.
I think I got to the final boss, but then something came out and I haven't gone back yet to go play it again.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's great on Vita. It had some issues, but like I said, they fixed it seemingly so far. Yeah, no.
Yeah, that team is cool. I listened to a talk they gave at GDC.
Yeah, it's cool that it's just the two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm loving that game. So I'm about halfway through. So otherwise, I probably put at least 10 hours of time into Horizon this past week. I'm all the way up until the very last main mission, and I kind of just stopped. Went back, and I'm going through all the side stuff. I just have a couple more hunting grounds to finish up. And I'm pretty sure I've done all the side quests that I know of. Gotten all the collectibles. Just have to clean up a couple more trophies, and then I'll go through that last mission, and then basically I'm setting myself up so when I beat the game, the platinum also pops. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that would be nice.
Don't you think? I have a quick question for you, and this is about like design wise, because I've thought about this. Would you be for or against this trend starting where towards the end of the game they clearly let you know in like a pop-up or something, obviously when it's not intrusive to like the narrative or anything, but like where they're like, hey, you can do stuff after the final boss? Because like a lot of times that's not clear. You have to like go online, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to do the thing like you said where you pause and then you make sure you do everything else, and it's like I really wish it was more clear with games of like, no, the world, you can explore the world after you're done beating the game, or no, it's, you know, no going back, it starts a new game. You know?
So I only knew the way Horizon works because I've heard other people talk about it, so I haven't even started that last mission. I'm not sure how it plays out, but from what I understand, you can beat the game, and then basically you'll just go back to your last save.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how Zelda works.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you keep, the XP you earn from the last mission. I don't know.
With Zelda, it has a little star, and like I took a photograph of the final boss, and I still had it. So like it's like it happened, but it didn't happen yet narratively.
But yeah, to answer your question, I appreciate when they're clear about things like that, especially recently because I've become a trophy whore. When if you're gonna lose out on trophies and have to play the whole game again after you beat it, type of thing, which is Dark Souls is infamous for that kind of stuff, where you miss an NPC quest because you did one thing, you progressed, one boss too far, and now you have to play the whole game over again to get that trophy. I like
somebody a tongue.
Right. I like that, because that's what makes Dark Souls unique. Like they're not going to tell you everything, but it's also frustrating. So, but just different strokes, I guess. So, other than Horizon, I probably put 6-7 hours into Mario Kart 8. Me and my wife have just been playing that pretty nonstop. I get home from work and we play almost every night since it's come out. So that's been a lot of fun, and we've never really played any games together, so any video games at least. So it's been really fun. I mean, it's a good, frankly, it's good for our relationship. I know it sounds cheesy, but
Yeah.
It's something else we can do together instead of sitting and watching Netflix and sitting on our phones in the evenings, I guess. So loving that game, and we'll have a chance later in one of the topics to debate this. But in my opinion, I think Mario Kart as a series is probably the best couch co-op game, at least that I've experienced. But we'll get into that a little bit later. So that's what I've been playing.
Can I ask you a question real quick? What controller scheme do you both use?
I'm glad you brought that up.
Do you both have pro controllers, or is one of you on the Joy-Con grip or something?
Nope. So I'm glad you brought this up because I want to say it. We've just been using single Joy-Cons each.
The baby controllers?
Whoa!
Yeah.
Wow.
So I never bought any extra controllers. I figured let's just try it. When Mario Kart comes out, we'll try to use these and see how it is. And if it's just dreadful, I'll buy another set or a pro controller, whatever.
Yeah.
And with the little, the grip slide thing on, I've had no issues.
Yeah.
Now I don't have.
I'm one of the lucky ones. My left Joy-Con sucks, but
It sucks.
oh yeah, I was using it. I let my friend use the pro controller, which I love, by the way. But and like there would be parts where I would just like suddenly be driving straight left, and I just couldn't do anything for a second, and then I fall off the side, and I'm like, well, now I'm in ninth.
No, I'm lucky then. I haven't had that issue, and I'll probably buy another set of Joy-Cons, just in case we have. Because now, if we had two friends come over, then 4 people can play, or just me and her can use a set of Joy-Cons each, I guess. there's lots of options with this, which is pretty cool, I think. But like Mario Kart is absolutely fantastic. It's been a while since I played one, so loving getting back into that. Nostalgic.
I really like it.
It's good that you guys started playing games together on Mario Kart and didn't start with Overcooked.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Could have gone a completely
Overcooked is so funny.
Yeah.
Because like Jones and his wife play, Amanda, they play Overcooked and they just love it, and like that game is too stressful for me. I like playing snipper clips with someone else.
that's
I want to try that one.
There's no. Did you say you have to try it, or you?
I want to. Yeah.
Oh, it's glorious, and it's great because you solve puzzles and there's no time constraint.
Oh, nice.
So it just feels kind of chill. You don't have that stress on each other. It's great.
So there's like no fail state?
Yeah, I mean, not really.
That's cool.
If you screw up a puzzle, you can really quickly just start it over. And like thinking back, yeah, they have reset buttons in every level. So fail state, you never have to like quit out of a level and go back. They have it set. You can reset it in level without a load. So
there's probably a direct correlation between what game a couple can play successfully together and the time they've been together or their communication with one another, between Overcooked or Mario Kart or Snipper Clips. Like, you got to choose the right one because you don't want it to go sour.
Yeah. I just won't test
it. That's great that you're enjoying Mario Kart. Like, hearing the whole Joy-Con thing sucks. For me, that's why I've kind of held off on a Switch. I'm getting one by the fall because I have to have one for Odyssey, right? I have to play Odyssey. And I want to play Zelda, but, like, Zelda is a franchise I play and I enjoy, but it's, for me, Super Mario Odyssey, going back to the 64 roots, and like that's a whole nother level. And there's a ton of games I want to play on the Switch. It's just, I can't justify to myself right now to pick one up yet, As hard as it is, it's an inner struggle every day.
I will say this, because I've only beaten Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild, and I love all the Mario games too, but I love my Switch. Even with the crappy Joy-Con, I think it's a great system. Playing Breath of the Wild on a plane is like next level,
Yeah.
And it's such a cool little thing, and like, if you have someone else, like my roommate also has a Switch, and there were moments where one of us is playing Breath of the Wild on the projector and the other one is laying on the couch, on the other side playing it on their Switch handheld. And it's like just crazy that you can, both be playing two versions of the same. It takes me back to like high school when my friend and I had two TVs in the basement. Playing Final Fantasy X-2 next to each other or whatever it was, drinking Capri Sun and getting sick.
Yeah, I definitely think that this, Switch is going to be eons more successful than the Wii U, and I'm excited to get one. Like,
already.
Yeah, exactly. We were talking about it, like, when the Wii U came out, even the Wii, I didn't buy a Wii. It was successful, obviously, in terms of sales numbers, but, like, I always buy Nintendo handhelds because I think they're always go-tos, right? For the most part, anyways. And
you're going to buy the new 2DS XL?
Yeah, well, yeah. I have the 3DS, but yeah. It's the best merger for Nintendo, and I think it's super smart. For me, though, it's just like I'm just waiting because I'm kind of cheap sometimes, and I want to wait for a better bundle or deal, So that's kind of what I'm waiting for. I'm willing to wait for that, but I'm excited to get my hands on one. Like, I really want one. Also, I'm waiting to see if there's different color schemes for Joy-Cons and stuff like that too, because I kind of want to see what they have available there. As far
Arms
as
is getting green ones, or like greeny, yellowy neon ones.
Yeah, like highlighter. Those look really interesting.
Yeah, they're crazy.
So that's it for what we've been playing. Let's hop into the news now. A couple of news stories here, pretty interesting stuff. So Darksiders 3 was announced this week. It was first leaked, and then about an hour later, IGN, I think, broke the story. They were supposed to have the exclusive, but it leaked. Darksiders 3 is interesting. It's an open-world action-adventure game. It's from Gunfire Games. And it's about Fury, who's the third of the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and it's being published by THQ Nordic. Really interesting. They showed some short gameplay stuff. I personally never played the first 2 Darksider games. I think, Ian, you said you haven't either. Dom, I'm not sure if you have experience with Darksiders.
Nope. None.
The first 2 games, didn't care. They were hack and slash, button mashy kind of games. It was originally, the first Darksiders were developed by Vigil Games, Gunfire Games, the new studio that's working on Darksiders 3, is comprised of a lot of those guys. THQ Nordic actually brought on a lot of those guys, the producer, one of the leads, and so it's going to have the same Darksiders feel for the most part. The thing that gets me excited is it seems, and this is like a trend that's going on, and I hate to keep bringing this up, but this game looks like it's inspired from by FromSoftware to some capacity. It seems like the combat's a little bit better. It's not as, I don't want to say lazy, more like sloppy combat. One of the things when I saw the first two Darksiders was the hack and slash. It just seemed like it was just...
the combat's better than the previous two Darksiders, you mean?
Yeah, did I say Dark Souls? Sorry
For a second
that.
I was like...
No. Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that.
There.
I misspoke. Yeah, so it looks interesting. I think having a female protagonist is cool. This character's actually been known about. The story is a lot more interesting than I thought. I don't want to go into too much because if people want to go back and play it with the announcement of this, I don't want to spoil it for them. But it's pretty interesting. She's the sister of the main character in the first game. So that's pretty cool. I'm down whenever a game has strong female protagonists and they're also good games. Like Horizon is an excellent example of that. I think diversity in games is cool. And this game piques my interest. Like I had no interest in the first two, but depending on when we see more and what's going down exactly, I might come around to playing this game. I don't know how you guys feel about it. It still doesn't scratch that itch? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about it just never looked appealing to me. Not really fair judgment, I guess, but I just never... I'll look, I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if it came out and, like, all the other guys, like, all the other Easy Allies guys are, like, going bonkers for it.
Yeah.
And then, like, 5 people tweet at me, they're like, oh my god, you're gonna love it. Like, that's what happened to me with Nier Automata. Like, I wasn't gonna play it because it looks not... Like, I'm not interested. And then now I kind of really enjoy it. So you never know, but yeah, I'm not likely to play it.
All right.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. If Darksiders has 3 games and we never get a Bayonetta 3, it's going to be a really interesting landscape. The next story here is pretty cool as well. This also comes by way of IGN. It basically talks about how Remedy, the guys behind Quantum Break, Alan Wake, 2 of my favorite games of all time. Quantum Break I wouldn't say is one of my favorite games of all time, but it's a game I enjoyed on Xbox One. Also Max Payne. They've actually partnered with 505 Games, the publisher. Really interesting. They announced in a press release. It's going to be multi-platform, so no longer are they making Xbox exclusives. And it states that it's featuring an intriguing story and a game structure offering a long-lasting experience. So that pretty much doesn't say anything. The project,
or it's a roguelike free-to-play.
Yeah, exactly. And the project is actually called P7. I think it's their 7th project. That's why it's P7. It contains the deepest game mechanics yet in a Remedy game. I'm excited for this. I think that it's cool to see a company see how good Remedy games are. Remedy was seeming like they're going more independent and they wanted to pick up a publisher. And I think 505 Games understands that they make quality products. Alan Wake was a phenomenal game. Alan Wake American Nightmare, which was like the DLC standalone sequel-y kind of thing, was also really good. And then Quantum Break was a good game. I think it got underrated and it got kind of forgotten because of the TV mixture stuff. And I don't think that stuff was done great, but it wasn't bad. The gameplay itself was phenomenal. Like the time powers, time shifting, being able to manipulate the environments and everything like that. Very solid game, very well polished game. It just was real unfortunate that it got mixed into like being, it's a TV video game thing. It's not really worth it, And I really think it's one of, if not the like premier Xbox One exclusive. I think it's better than any of the Halo games that have come out or Gears games. Though I haven't played Gears 4, so I can't really say that. But I loved Quantum Break a lot, and I'm excited to see what Remedy does because I think they're a very underappreciated studio.
I would have preferred another Alan Wake. I loved that game.
I know.
I'm sure whatever else they're doing now is going to be cool, but I just wish it was Alan Wake.
I'm also not sure if they own the rights to Alan Wake or if Microsoft does. I'd have to look into that. I'm not too sure.
Good question.
Mm-hmm. But they said this is an all-new IP, so it's not Alan Wake, but in the future I wonder if they can go back to that. But it's really cool. Happy for Remedy Games. Those guys make really quality products. Next story here, Code Vein. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. They had the big unveil where they had the teaser animated trailer with this really cool art style, and then it ended with hashtag prepare to dine. And we were talking about like does that mean it's God Eater? Does that mean it's like a vampire game? And we were kind of right. It's by the guys who developed God Eater. It's, I guess a lot of people are describing it as what anime Dark Souls is the best one-liner elevator pitch, I guess.
To me, it looks a lot, anime Dark Souls with the combat more like Bloodborne. I think they look faster, right?
It looks faster, yeah. The problem I had with the trailer was the anime style kind of jarred me a little bit because the enemies didn't look super anime like. Like the enemies looked CG, and then when they cut to the face of the player character, I was like, whoa,
it was
is this
weird.
a movie or something? Like what? And I was like, they don't look like they go together at all. It was very weird. And I thought that the combat looked like it didn't have a lot of, like the hits didn't feel impactful.
Yeah.
They just kind of like sliced right through the enemies. And I mean, yeah, it's early gameplay stuff. If it was even gameplay, like who knows? So I'm sure that they can sweeten that up later before the game comes out. But yeah, I don't know. I was about it. I mean, obviously Prepare to Die, I thought was a really weird, not great thing because they're like so directly drawing the comparison to Dark Souls. It's like why? But they're just like piggybacking off the popularity, I guess. But yeah, I was more intrigued by the animated thing just stylistically. I kind of hoped that the game would just look like that, like be a crazy scribbly 2D Metroidvania sort of deal or something. This trailer kind of unsold me a little bit. Like I'm still interested and I still want to play it, but I'm at like a 6 instead of an 8 now, or like a 5 instead of an 8.
Yeah, the animated thing kind of felt to me like it was doing what Salt and Sanctuary did, was taking that Souls feel and putting in a 2D perspective, and I really love the art style in that animated short.
It made me think of like that Cartoon Network show, Samurai Jack. That's kind of
Samurai Jack, yeah.
My biggest fear, and I want to play Code of and I hope it's good, because of the Prepare to Die slogan and how it looks like Souls, but it doesn't quite look like Souls. Where, like you said, the hits don't really look like a Souls hit, or they probably don't feel like that. I hope this isn't just a cash grab kind of thing where it's like, let's slap in some anime for anime fans and let's slap in the dark stuff for Dark Souls and the gameplay like Dark Souls. People will eat that crap up and they'll buy it, Yeah. Because we're not getting a Souls game from. It's really weird. I hope it's not that.
When I saw the gameplay, it made me feel like, and I don't want to think of an example to like make it seem like I'm throwing something under the bus, but it definitely seemed like, oh, okay, this is a high mid-tier action game instead of like god tier Souls, or I would say like Bloodborne or Neo. Like it's more of like, and I'm not saying that the Devil May Cry games are bad, but it's more like a Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, platinum-y sort of action vibe maybe. Meets Dark Souls, which is like, again, not bad, but less my taste than a Souls game, But I mean, historically, Souls clones are hit or miss,
Exactly. That's the thing, is this is like a 50-50 bet. I hope it's good.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Like, it's one thing for the environments to be very Souls-like and dark and somber, but it's very weird for there to be the anime heroes and then all of the enemies still are dark. Like, you could have easily just made the environments very dark and then both of them them and the enemies anime, but it's just really weird that you chose one over the other. Really weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's very strange.
It's interesting. It's going to be interesting how that game plays out and comes out, and it's slated for next year, which if, Bloodborne ends up coming out this year or next year, it's going to be odd for them to have a game like that where is mid-tier probably coming out next to the example it's basing itself off of, God tier. I think
that they would probably move it so it didn't come out around that. I mean, if they're smart, they'd come out before, but since they just said the year and not a quarter, this game might be like end of 2018. Who knows? Also, I just had a thought that maybe the incongruous style of the art of the playable characters versus the enemies is to accentuate that they're not revenant or whatever they call that they're more lifelike than the enemies, that they still have like some blood in them because they're you know, they've got they're the vampire blood thing, and the other people have all basically gone hollow. I forgot what the terminology was, but maybe that's why they're doing it. I don't know.
Also, I think that this is going more towards a general audience, still niche, but more general than Dark Souls, and maybe having them be separated so far from everything else in the environment gives people a better indication when they run into NPCs that they are friendly and they're not bad guys. Because, you know...
That's possible.
Yeah, I don't know. There's plenty of design decisions that can be made. You know, publishers we think are smart, and you're like, yeah, maybe they'll make sure that Code Vein doesn't come out anywhere near Bloodborne 2.
Oh, yeah.
But one publisher that didn't do that is EA with Titanfall and Battlefield 1 coming out next to each other. And, you know, Titanfall 2 didn't sell very well. And we actually have a weird announcement related to that, where Titanfall is getting a real-time strategy spin-off. It's a mobile game, and some of the features they actually mentioned on the website, deploy your pilots and Titans in fast-paced fluid battles, fight head-to-head in dynamic real-time strategy warfare, kind of all the buzzword key terms for, like, mobile games, upgrading your squad and all this stuff. It looks cool. A lot of times with mobile games, for me, it seems like if you're interested in the IP that's featured, you'll at least give it a try, right? Like Fire Emblem Heroes, I enjoyed for what it was.
Especially if it's free.
Exactly. This is interesting. I like the universe of Titanfall, and any chance I have to play more of it, considering we probably won't get a third one, I'd assume, from Respawn, considering they're in the Star Wars wheelhouse now after Titanfall 2. This is very interesting to me. I don't know if this was a move by Respawn, because they own the IP, obviously, or if this was a move by the publisher. What do you guys think? Like, why did this game pop up? Why did we get Titanfall mobile game, of all things?
It was weird. It felt like, oh, that's what they're doing with this. Okay. That was my reaction. I was kind of just, And it could be cool. You know, like you said, Fire Emblem Heroes was actually not a bad game. And then, it uses an IP that I was familiar with too, so I like that. This is interesting. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it, I guess. It's just... I think this kind of, to me, confirms, like you were hinting at, that we're probably not getting Titanfall 3 ever. Which I'm neutral on. I never played, I didn't play 1 or 2, but it's kind of a sad thing. Those are supposed to be really great games, but I don't know.
It's really weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's... Well, first of all, your segue from Code Vein into this was really good, by the way. But
thank you.
it could... You never really know with stuff like this. Like, it could have been just... in the structure of their company, like, who knows, but like maybe 4 or 5 people had some extra time and threw together a prototype in the company, and they're like, hey, that's actually pretty cool. Let's dedicate a couple of months and make that, like maybe it was literally just a, hey, we can, so we did sort of a deal. Or maybe it's EA saying, hey, come up with something that we can make this Titanfall property make us a little more money, or but again, like, that's their fault for releasing it right next to Battlefield. But like, yeah, it's interesting, and it's possible that they just in somewhere, and again, because I haven't played Titanfall 1 or 2 either, but like I heard Titanfall 2 is really good actually, and maybe they saw something in the mechanics in that game that they thought would translate really well into a game, and maybe it's like a passion project. I mean, it's all speculation. Who knows? I question how well it will do.
Yeah.
Just because, Titanfall, it's a household name in that people have heard of it, but I don't know if it's a household name in that it's like, oh yeah, Titanfall, I love that world. Like Fire Emblem, I think, like, yeah, it's a niche, more like Eastern aware audience maybe, but I think that's a bigger crowd possibly. But yeah, and it's like Halo Wars. It's like, how much crossover between FPSs and RTSs or whatever are there? I don't know.
I mean, I think it's easy money too, because we've seen, well, if you do it right, mobile games make a ton of money, and I think that though having an IP that people know can give you a great jump start. I don't know if you've seen, but more people downloaded Super Mario Run than Fire Emblem Heroes, but Fire Emblem Heroes made 10 times as much money as Super Mario Run did. Right.
Right.
And with Titanfall Assault, I think that, it would help if it was a better known IP, but if it's a good mobile game or if it catches on or they know how to show it to that market, it can boom. The other thing that's really cool is that Respawn did have a hand in this. I doubt, because it says developers Respawn in Particle City, and then it was published by Nexon. So at least they had a hand in it somewhat, so it is authentic to Titanfall. How much of a hand they had in it when they're currently working on Star Wars, I don't know. I doubt they had much time to put into this mobile game, but really interesting. Odd story. I didn't think I would wake up today and see that Titanfall had a mobile game. If you told me pick a mobile game that was releasing for an IP, would have never picked Titanfall. Ever.
Well, and also, like, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes is an EA
good point.
product, So it's like EA is all about this. Galaxy of Heroes is making them lots of money as far as I can tell. And, like, why not?
Exactly.
Why not?
And this also
we have this
reminds
IP,
me-
don't let it rot. Make some money off of it.
Yeah.
So if you guys remember, Activision bought the Candy Crush company for
King.
It's some absurd amount of
Yeah.
money. But didn't they recently announce they're going to do a Call of Duty mobile game too? I feel like I read that
Oh.
recently.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
I'll follow up.
Activision and
I mean,
King.
like, this makes, the more I think about it, all of this makes total sense,
Yeah.
because it's just like, try to hit every market. You have an IP already, so that's just creative you don't have to think up.
Yep.
So it's like, that saves money, that saves time, you can iterate quicker, and then, especially if it's a world that, can withstand and hold up a different gameplay idea, it's a no-brainer, kind of. Like, it's even if it, I would say that even if the install base isn't huge, they probably will not lose money on this.
Yep.
Just because, enough people, or like 1 million people or whoever, are going to say, I'll download it, it's free. And then, like, if 20,000 of them spend, $5 or $6, then they'll be making cash. I don't know. I'm bad at math, but
No, I think
Also,
you got
this
a point.
is a win-win, because it's like Titanfall isn't that big of an IP where if this does fail, it won't tarnish the brand, because we're probably
Right.
not getting another Titanfall. So it's like, let's try to earn money off of this.
Yeah, and their
Right.
dev costs had to be real small, I would think. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, compared to Titanfall 2, yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's very interesting. Our first topic, like I said, this was a pretty Souls heavy episode. One of the coolest rumors that's going around, as far as people who are into Souls, is that the developer's hiring for a new dark fantasy RPG. Now, this is interesting for a couple of reasons, because A, we've heard that they're not working on Souls anymore. Would you classify Bloodborne as dark fantasy? No, right?
you could.
I mean, technically it's cosmic horror, but yeah, I mean, you could call it whatever.
Yeah. So basically what I want to talk about with this topic, because I know you're such a huge Souls guy, Ian, is do you think that this hiring is what do you think this hiring is for specifically, and what do you think From's next game is going to be? Obviously we all want it to be Bloodborne 2, but what do we think their next release is going to be? The job listing, basically the way this rumor came about is that they found a job listing for a company that From has done job hirings through before. And the location is the exact location where From's located in Japan. It's like, it's across the street from this whatever, and then if you go and look where From's located, it's the exact location. So it's 100% that this is From hiring. And in the thing it states, like I said, they're hiring for a dark fantasy RPG. They're looking for a 2D artist with background and character creature design experience. So it's like totally Souls related, right? So I just want you guys to take the floor, and what do you guys think From's cooking up, and what do you think this hiring is specifically for?
I mean, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think that if Bloodborne 2 is happening, they've already started it like a while ago.
Yeah.
I think this would be for Kingsfield.
Oh.
Ooh. Catch me up. I'm not familiar.
Possibly a VR Kingsfield, but who knows? First person. So it's like, Legend of Grimrock,
Yeah.
like a screen by screen dungeon crawler. Kingsfield was sort of like that. It was a precursor to Dark Souls, and
Oh, wow,
I don't know
okay.
if they were under the name FromSoftware at the time. I'm not sure, but I know that some of the same, like, it's got the same background as far as some of the people and stuff.
They use some of the same lore. I know that. Like that game had
Yeah.
the Moonlight Sword, I think, or something like that.
There are definitely little homages. But like, I would not be surprised if they put out a Kingsfield game, and I would not be surprised if it was VR or VR compatible. Yeah, because I mean, like, doing a VR game like that where you teleport forward of screen, you know, that's how, like, VR games that don't make you puke kind of work already. And, yeah, I don't know, because if Miyazaki said that he's not doing Souls anymore, and, you know, maybe the rest of the team is going to do Souls, who knows, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was Kingsfield. I also wouldn't be surprised if it's just something entirely new, like Souls-like but different, like different gameplay style. Like, my gut, besides the Kingsfield thing, is that they're going to, the Souls-esque gameplay might continue in another Bloodborne game or similar game.
Okay.
But I think that they would, and if it is dark fantasy, whatever, but I think they might shake things up gameplay-wise, because I think that they like to try new stuff sometimes. Who knows?
What were you going to say, Dom?
I like that, because yeah, my initial thought was, you know, something new, something different, like you said.
Yeah.
Maybe just the same kind of my thought was like same kind of gameplay, but even a different setting from Dark Souls and from Bloodborne. I don't know what that would be. Maybe some.
I think they might go forward through time some more.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Some at a different time, really. But I like that idea of Kingsfield, especially in VR. That could be really cool. But yeah, my gut, or I hope it's Bloodborne too, right? I think you could classify that as dark fantasy.
Yeah.
You're right. I think you really need the word cosmic in there somewhere. Even not, you know, I wasn't super in on all the lore, but yeah, there's definitely some cosmic,
Lovecraftian.
Right.
The reason I hope it's not Bloodborne 2 is I hope that they're beyond the stage where they would need to hire a 2D concept artist.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good point.
Because if that's what they're doing, then that game's not coming out for 2 more years, you know?
Do you think we would ever live in a full circle reality where From could possibly make a Berserk game?
It would be interesting.
Do you think that would work?
It would be interesting. Oh, absolutely. If they just basically did Dark Souls, but it was Berserk license, like, yeah, I mean, they've been doing it.
Exactly, yeah. It's just interesting to me to see, like, how much it's influenced it, and if it would come full circle and they would get the rights to it, or, like, you know, they're like, hey, you're obviously doing Berserk, do Berserk, you know? Because that's technically, he can say I'm not doing Souls because they're not doing Souls. So.
Right. I mean, I would believe that they wouldn't want to, because I just know how much he likes, and they all seem to really like making their own lore and being really, you know, detailed about that kind of thing. And I would say that could be an argument either for or against them doing a licensed product, because either they don't want to do it because they like owning it and they like doing their own thing, or they would really love digging in and putting in all these details that fans would recognize, you know, like just little nods to side characters and lore and stuff. And I mean, the Berserk manga has more than enough to draw from, you know, so yeah, who knows? I wonder what arc they would do. Yeah, it's probably after Golden Age, but who knows?
It's just an idea to throw out there, you know, something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not far-fetched.
An interesting fact in the article I got this news story from, they mentioned, I thought this was interesting because I didn't know about this. FromSoftware has released at least one game every single year, going all the way back to 1994.
That really surprised me.
Yeah.
But then you remember that they own Armored Core and like a few other things that just kind of come out and no one's like, oh hey. Yeah.
So that's interesting to me because like we have had substantial DLC for Dark Souls 3, but they've released a full game every year. So I don't know if they're breaking the thing or if we do get a game, because they've stated before they had 3 games in development, right?
Yeah.
One of them was Armored Core for sure. I think they said. I forgot what one of them was VR, and then they said the third one. They didn't say anything about the third one. Now we know it's. I'm assuming this dark fantasy.
I think it was.
RPG.
Yeah. I think it was something. They said one of them, Armored Core 1, something along the lines of what we'd expect, and then something newer. You know.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think what that means is Armored Core, Bloodborne 2, and then maybe a VR Kingsfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
And I think that this hiring would be for the Kingsfield.
So do you think we see Armored Core then this year? Like, if we had or is it Bloodborne 2, I'm assuming, right? If we had to pick one of those 3 projects to come out this year, which one would be farthest along? Bloodborne 2?
Not Bloodborne.
You don't think Bloodborne?
I think I wouldn't be surprised if we heard about both and then Armored Core came out first.
Yeah, that could be.
I mean, the way it seems like things have to be working. I'm looking at the list of their games right now and like release dates and stuff. It seems like the way that it has to work over there is they've got 3 teams.
Okay.
And they're agnostic. Like Miyazaki's probably bouncing between them all, and like definitely has he's the director of, you know, one project at a time, but he's overseeing probably all of them. But you know, it's got to be that. Because just Bloodborne coming out in March 2015 and Dark Souls 2 coming out in March 2014 and Miyazaki directing Bloodborne and not Dark Souls 2, you know, that would be an argument against Bloodborne 2 coming out already because Miyazaki directed Dark Souls 3. But, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they've got, you know, teams, boots on the ground on multiple things at the same time.
I have a question for you because I've often talked about how badly I hope none of From's games are console exclusive, but the Xbox owner in me kind of wants Xbox to have its own From exclusive, you know, kind of like a jab at Bloodborne because it's such a good game. Do you think the reason they were so okay with doing Bloodborne as an exclusive was because they didn't own the IP? Do you think do you think Microsoft could approach them to be like, hey, we want Armored Core exclusive, or do you think From's like, no, we'd only do new IP exclusive? Like, how do you think they'd handle that situation? Like, if they were approached by Microsoft? Because no doubt they at least asked, right? Phil had to have asked.
I wonder. I mean, I almost think that FromSoftware would probably be down. I think that Armored Core would fit better on, like, or something like Armored Core would maybe be a better fit on Microsoft.
Yeah.
Just because there's been this pedigree or like legacy of Souls-like games on the PlayStation, so since Demon's Souls, it's kind of just been like, even to the point that I have a funny story about this. I tried to get my friend to play Dark Souls, and he finally did, and he hated it. Even though I was like, "What? This is like you, the game." It's like, well, not even that. Like, I love it, sure, but like, I'm like, this doesn't make sense from what I know of you and what your tastes are.
Yeah.
You know? And then I was like, well, what are you playing it on? And he was playing it on PC with an Xbox controller.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, this is gonna sound really stupid, but try it with a PlayStation controller. And then he did, and now it's one of his favorite series of all time. And like, that is just weird, but I think there's something to it. I don't know.
I love Offset.
The PC port was utter garbage of the first Dark Souls, so that might have been part of it.
Blight Time.
Yeah, maybe he then played it on a PlayStation. But you know, it's just a weird thing because I've played them with the Xbox controller too, and for me it just feels weird.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not trying to sound like a fan person or whatever, but like, I don't know, you know. But also I think that if Sony caught wind of Microsoft trying to buy a Souls-like exclusivity from, they would drop a plane full of money on From's doorstep and just say no.
Yeah.
Because I think Microsoft kind of just knows that they've like Sony's got this one.
Exactly.
Like, I think it would be weird. Although it might, for that exact reason, it might be a great play because I would have to buy an Xbox Scorpio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
You know,
Armored
like I would
Core.
have to.
God. Or Souls, like,
Yeah.
It's weird to me because, like, for me, I love the offset joysticks, like, and to me playing Souls on DualShock would probably feel weird to me. So it's just funny taste wise and everything. It's probably also like what you're used to exactly. And like Dom said, that the Dark Souls on PC was not necessarily super great as far as performance and everything.
Well, and every most PC people probably play it with Xbox controllers.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, I love the PS4 controller. My second favorite controller of all time is this one, the Switch Pro controller, and that has offset joysticks.
Yeah,
you know, I think this controller is fantastic.
That's why I was like
But,
so excited when they showed it off, because I was like, oh yes, I'm so excited to play with the offset joystick Xbox-like controller, because that's my favorite type of controller. So
yeah, it's weird. I don't know. It's weird.
I think that's it for everything regarding From's next game. Dom, you wanted to talk about couch co-op. You said you've been playing Mario Kart.
Yeah, so like I said, I've been loving Mario Kart 8 on the Switch. It's bringing me back to that place of couch co-op that I haven't had, in years, since probably middle school. So it just got me thinking. So in my head now, like, I don't think there's a better couch co-op experience than Mario Kart. And this is, exclusively where everyone's playing, not like a streaming or you're one person's playing, someone else is watching, something like that. I'm specifically like, 2 or more people are playing a game together. So looking back, to me, some of the big ones for me were Mario Kart on N64. Obviously, tons of time I put into that, and a couple of the Mario parties I loved, and I'm actually really excited for. I'm assuming they make one for the Switch. I'm pumped to get back into that too.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I think the Wii U one. I think a lot of people were less than
It
high on
was
it.
weird. It
Right.
was
It
very
was weird.
weird. Yeah.
But yeah, I loved those.
If they
games.
put out Super Mario Maker on the Switch too. Oh.
Yeah, that could be
Oh,
cool too.
man. Oh man, yeah.
Really, I mean,
Even though the touchscreen on the Switch is a little weird, but whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
they'd have to figure that out. But the Switch in
Yeah.
general and Mario Kart 8, it's really got me like thinking like, man, like couch co-op is fantastic. Like this is a great way to play games, and we don't really have this so much anymore. I look back, like I said, Mario Kart, Mario Party. I mentioned before when we talked about Star Wars games, me and my brother together played so much of the original Battlefront couch co-op. In Halo 5, they took out split screen multiplayer. That was another big one in Halos 1, 2, and 3. So much time spent playing couch co-op. The early Call of Duties, same thing. I'm not sure if they do that anymore, if they also took out split screen. But those are a couple of the big ones for me, really. So from your guys' perspective, what are your favorite couch co-op games, I guess? Let's go with that.
You want to go first, Ian?
Sure. A recent one, Puyo Puyo Tetris, I just adore. And now that it's out in English, because my roommate Omar imported the Japanese one 2 years ago or whenever that came out, like a million years ago. And we were playing it a lot, and we didn't know what the hell was going on because neither of us speaks Japanese or reads Japanese at all. So we didn't know what the game modes were. We just kind of guessed which mode we were playing and like what we were doing, and we still had a great time. But now that it's in English and I actually know what the modes do, it's even better. My favorite though ever is Samurai Gun, and it's a crime that it's not out on PlayStation or anything yet. I bug Bo sometimes when I see him because I'm friends with him who made it, and like I'm like, dude, get it on the PS4 or whatever, and he's like, yeah, I will someday. Maybe, I don't know, like I don't even know if that's confirmed or what, but like I just wish it was on a console so more people would play it because I think that game is beautiful.
It's
genius.
It's interesting because to me, all of my memories of my favorite couch co-op experiences are either all Nintendo or shooters, and for me it's
that's
like
where I was.
yes, Melee on GameCube.
Oh,
one
duh.
of my favorite games of all time.
I forgot about Smash. Fuck me.
Yeah, Smash is probably my favorite couch co-op game of all time. The Halos, Halo, especially Halo 2 and Halo 3, playing those co-op. The first game I ever owned for my Xbox 360 was the first Gears, and I played that co-op with my best friend who lived next door. So that was a really cool experience. I always get the name wrong. I always say Time Splitters, and I believe what I'm always trying to refer to is Time Crisis, the arcade machine, the arcade cabinet. Playing that co-op with somebody next to you, putting in a couple of quarters and playing that was pretty fun. Except when your friend was the D-bag and he would put the gun up to the screen. You know what I'm talking about? I hated that. Like couch co-op kind of did disappear for a while. We've had a resurgence with Overcooked. One that you didn't talk about now, but you mentioned before we started recording, Ian, was Snipper Clips. Yeah, so that game looks like a really fun time. I haven't had the chance to play it. Mario Kart, obviously. I think it's a lost art. People complain that Halo 5 didn't have it, and they're bringing it back for the next one. And I really think that the Switch is going to be a huge thing for that. I think it's going to be it's going to be beneficial to the couch co-op community and the fandom. I really hope the next Mario Party is good, because the one that came out for Wii U was very disappointing. People hated it. Some weird gameplay choices, some weird game mode choices, the whole Bowser mode. But I do think they're going to bounce back. And we still have some ports that can come over that could potentially do good as well. So hopefully Smash comes over. I really hope Smash gets ported.
Or just a new one.
I just hope they... Yeah, a new one. I hope that'll be a few years away, though, I think. But I just hope that they get Virtual Console going on the Switch.
Baby.
Because, oh, man, like, I would buy so many things. Oh,
GameCube?
It would be a problem. Yeah, I would buy so many things. Like, if they announced that at E3 this year, even though they're not really huge at E3 anymore, but like, oh god, I'm gonna be in trouble.
Well, the thing is, I think Nintendo finally learned, like, people buy our handhelds, they're hit or miss with our console, but everyone loves our IP. So how about we just merge our two things together and put all of our IP on one thing? That eliminates a lot of problems. That eliminates people feeling as if they have to buy two different things for two different types of experiences, and it eliminates their empty catalog. People had a problem with Wii U going dry spells for months and months and months.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things, I don't know if you're familiar with Emily Rogers, Ian. She's like a Nintendo leaker on Twitter.
She does leaks, yeah.
Yeah. She was talking about how the schedule, for the schedule, they have a big release hitting every month. So for May it's Minecraft. I forgot what June is ARMS. July is Splatoon. I forgot what August is, and then there's
Rabbids,
also the Rabbids Mario game. There's they have a game for every month. Hopefully Xenoblade Chronicles 2 December, and I think they're spacing it out well, and that helps because they have all of their developers hopefully working on one thing. We've seen some weird 3DS announcements which are odd, but hopefully they have their whole catalog on the Switch. And like you said, the Virtual Console, man, they're gonna make so much money off of that once it launches. Jesus.
Well, to me, the genius of the Switch too is, and I know they didn't want to freak people out, so they haven't said like this is replacing the 3DS, but like the genius of it is, their handhelds don't do well in the West comparatively, and their consoles are like less of a hit in Japan than their handhelds. So like this is a thing that'll hit both in the West and in Japan theoretically. I haven't seen Japanese numbers on it, but I know the Switch is selling like hotcakes. But like, if they've done it and they pull it off, like 2 years from now, going forward, they just have this one killer machine that's both a handheld and a console, and it's just brilliant. And if they start spacing it out and get Virtual Console on there, it's they're gonna take over.
And I hit on this when I talked about Mario Kart, that it comes. I know a lot of people will be like, well, not really, but it does come with two controllers right out of the box, right? At least good enough for most couch co-op games. That Nintendo releases, and that's, I think, a big deal. Even though it's the tiny little Joy-Cons, I think that's a thing. I mean, when was the last time that we saw a console come with two controllers? Two inputs for people to play. However much of a workaround the Joy-Cons really are, that's technically is two controllers. I think N64 had some two controller packages. Maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like I'm remembering that.
The weird untapped market, too, is imagine how much money they're going to make when they start releasing all of the Pokemon amiibos. That's going to happen. They're going to start releasing a section of Pokemon amiibos, and you're going to have to collect all 151. It's going to be... Those things are going to sell like crazy.
Dude, if they do Skylanders or whatever with Pokemon,
oh god, it's going to be...
It's evil, but they're going to make so much money.
I really want to...
Well, and like, I think...
I really want a Pokemon Snap 2 going off of that. Sorry to interrupt you. I really want a Pokemon Snap 2.
Pokemon Snap on the Switch would be great.
Yep.
But Jerrad, I think you said this before, but I forgot what I was saying. Waiting on the Switch for a bundle. I think that like it's a no-brainer for them to do 1-2 Switch or something bundled in on Black Friday. Maybe like. Because 1-2 Switch should have come with this blasted thing, like $50 for that game. Like, it's a fun game, but come on. It's ridiculous. Like, I bought it because my dad was in town, and I was like, this will be cute. But, like, oh, God. But, yeah, that should just come with it. And if they do bundles with that later, that'd be good.
Even a Snipper Clips bundle. Get that.
Snipper Clips is a brilliant game.
Yeah. It'd be so fun.
Snipper Clips is only $20, and it's way better value than 1-2 Switch, which is, like, twice the price, plus $10. But, like, Yeah.
Yeah, the pricing structure for some of those games, odd. On
So
unrelated note, Black Ops 2 came to backwards compatibility, right, this month for Xbox, actually this week. I'm not huge into Call of Duty that much anymore. My friends were playing it because they had their old discs, right? And I was like, oh, maybe I want to play some Call of Duty with my friends, old Call of Duty I haven't played in forever. I don't own Black Ops 2. I haven't bought a Call of Duty in almost 10 years now. I go to look how much it is, $50. Dang.
Whoa.
Activision. I'm like, oh my god.
On the digital store on the Xbox.
Yeah, I was like,
Man.
$50. That's insane. Yeah, it's a different side note. They're taking that Nintendo pricing structure of never dropping prices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go buy it at a used game shop for probably $10.
Right.
Yeah.
Before we close out, do you think we're getting Virtual Console this year, both of you guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Few
I think-
games, but they'll start to
Yeah.
trickle it out.
Oh.
If suddenly Nintendo gets wise and they're just like good at it and they figure out the back end, like, because there's not much reason that it couldn't just like, here's Virtual Console with like pretty much everything that was on the Wii U.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I think it'll happen this year. Otherwise, it's a real shame.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys for listening to this week's Controlled Interest Gamecast. Before we go, we'll talk about real quick what we're going to be playing next week. Short list for me, I'm going to be playing Prey, trying to get the review out ASAP. Really interesting game from Bethesda. It's not getting talked about a lot, but has some really interesting mechanics. Gives me a lot of Darkness vibes. I don't know if you guys remember that game. A lot of Bioshock vibes. I love sci-fi. I'm a sucker for sci-fi. So really intrigued
Yeah, I've heard
to
it's
see how it
very
plays.
System Shock.
Ooh, yeah, that gets me excited. And I'm also going to be watching Guardians, which I think the whole world is. Outside of that, I have nothing that I'm like set to do, so we'll just see what else I get to playing and watching and stuff. So, what about you guys?
I'm gonna be on more Salt and Sanctuary probably. Hopefully at this time next week I'll have the Horizon Platinum and I can move on from that. As much as I've loved it, I'm ready to get on to something else. And then I'll definitely be playing more Mario Kart too. So.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm seeing Guardians tonight. I'm probably gonna be playing some more Mario Kart. Trying to beat Nier Automata. My God. And then get all the shrines in Zelda. And then I'll probably get back into Persona 5. Whether or not that's all this week, who's to say?
I like the long, huge question mark at the end of that. Persona 4? Persona 5?
It's like, well, the thing with Persona 5, like we were talking about, is like, it's just such a time sink. And it's like, do I want... It's a choice, you know, at this
Yeah.
point in my life where it's like, I really want to see this. I really want to see these characters and experience this and like tra-la-la. But on the other hand, like, I could think of so many more productive things I could do with that 120 hours, you know? And like, I've got some projects that I'm working on that are going to start taking up more time soon. And it's just like, all right, well, we'll see what I do.
That game would benefit a lot from being on the Switch too. You know, being
Yeah,
able to play
I was
that
just
on
thinking
flights and
that.
stuff. Yeah.
I was
Oh.
just thinking that because like anytime I'm playing that, I gotta take ownership of the projector, you know, and
Yeah.
like, you know, it's a whole thing.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. If you can, let everybody know where they can find you, if they don't already know.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Ian Hinck, which is CK, and I'm from Easy Allies, which is like this weird gaming entertainment collective deal from all the people that used to be game trailers, most of the people, I guess. EasyAllies.com, Patreon.com/EasyAllies, YouTube.com/EasyAllies, Twitch.tv/EasyAllies. If you type Easy Allies, you'll find it in pretty much anything. Give it a glance.
Also,
Give it a
didn't you
glance.
guys get a thing from Open Critic for like the most trustworthy review place or something like that? It was voted on. Wasn't there something like that?
I guess if I understand it correctly, users of Open Critic can basically like put in their preferences, like their own most trusted reviewers, and we just happen to be the top
That's pretty cool.
one that the users had cited, I guess, is how that works. Which is pretty great. Pretty cool for us. We were all really proud of that. We like OpenCritic. I mean, like, you know, we're not like being paid to say anything about them, but like, I really like that. I like them. I think they're cool, and I like the way they do things. So yeah, that was rad.
Yeah, I saw that randomly. I was like, that's cool, you know, because you guys haven't been around for so long. Well, you guys have been around for a while, but Easy Allies as a
Yeah.
brand, you know, it's really cool.
Well, I really do think that I mean, I cut some of these reviews, and Jones cuts most of ours, and I think he does a really good job editing it. And I mean, Ben and Huber and Bloodworth and now Brad and stuff like, and Brandon, they all do really great work when it comes to review scripts. I think that they really pour a lot of thought into them, and I may not always agree with our own scores, but I really think that for that person, that is their honest truth, and like, like I think that, Ben is harder on some games and this and that, and like there are differences, but I think that that's, if you know the person, that it's really great. And I really think I trust our reviews a lot. I listen to the guys, and I know that, like, if you get to know the guys, you can say, like, okay, this guy's tastes are like this.
Yep.
So if he thinks this about this game, I will probably think this about this game, So, like, I can now go, okay, Huber loves this, and he says this and this about it. So it's like, okay, I'm going to love this game, or I do not need to play this game. Or, like, Ben says this about this game, which for me means this, like,
Yeah.
I think that's how you should pretty much take anything in.
Exactly.
And
You
I
should
think
find
that-
somebody who's from, like, kind of the same, not the same as you, but similar when it comes to reviews.
Yeah.
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 What's like, I wouldn't read Bossman's review of Dark Souls. I wouldn't read your review of Call of Duty. I wouldn't read Huber's review of The Witness, because I know those aren't your guys' necessarily your favorite things to do,
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, and that's why it's so funny when people get, like, weird about, they're like, oh, but Ben loves Persona, he shouldn't review Persona. And I'm like, what? That's the exact opposite of what's logical.
Exactly.
Like, because, like, Damiani loves Zelda so much, he's going to be harder on it. Like, I would give Zelda 5 stars just because I'm like, hey, it's got problems, but whatever, I'm having a blast, Like, but he's going to look at it with a super critical and very knowledgeable eye of someone who loves this series, and then he can, give you a, because, like, yeah, I hate Call of Duty. I'm going to give that game a 2. But you don't want to hear... You don't want to hear from me
Exactly.
with Call of Duty, because I'm not you. I'm not a person who likes Call of Duty. Well, just like Huber doesn't like The Witness, and I would give that a 5. Like,
I think that
exactly.
The area of priority is, are they trustworthy? And you definitely want them
Right.
to like the game. If they're trustworthy, then you should listen to somebody who loves the franchise or loves the developer, because they're going to give you the most honest opinion, because going back to A, you already know they're trustworthy. So yeah, I thought it was a really cool word. I think you guys deserved it. The reviews we do, I've only done 2 of them, but your guys' are like a heavy inspiration for like my editing style. Obviously I throw in some of our own personal flair, because I don't want it to be, here's an Easy Allies review with a different name. But like as far as like the structure of how you guys do it, I really like that. I really like the music flows and using the OST and stuff like that. So I really like how you guys do stuff, and I doubt anybody listening doesn't know who Easy Allies is. So, but if you don't, you know where to find Ian and find those guys. Thank you for joining us for episode 58. We'll catch you guys next week. We're gonna have a lot of E3 coverage coming up. Ian's gonna join us for the PlayStation conference talk, which is gonna be really cool. And
it'll be fun.
We'll catch you guys next week.